What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? Let me get situated first, and then I'm gonna start hollering at y'all real quick. It's fresh in my mind. You know the way my brain works. If anybody knows me by now, I'm not a traditional comedy writer. I'll write based purely on inspiration. If something inspires me, I will beat that motherfucker into the ground until I'm tired of it, and then I talk about something else. And if you've been following my page, you'll see I made like a lot of jokes. I made a lot of jokes about the election in general, you know what I'm saying? But the one thing I got a problem with is how we as black people, we are like the bounty. We're like the bounty paper towels of racial groups. Because you know what the phrase for bounty was, right? The quicker picker upper. You know what I mean? Regardless of what you spill, bounty can pick it up. And that's what black people do. Like any rejects or outcasts from other groups that want to conveniently claim us and claim to be a part of us to get our constituency in America, as long as they, lean towards the Democrat and lean towards our monolithic ideologies that we adhere to as a whole, we accept any and everybody, man. And that's problematic, man. That's problematic. This is no shade towards Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. It's no shade to her. They got it. I mean, if you want to go into, was it voter fraud or her past and things of that nature, no, that's not even what I'm talking about. That's not the issue. The issue that I'm discussing in this particular video is how, now I actually got a gig. I got a gig tonight, and I just got booked as a headliner out in Rhode Island. So I'm about to go to Rhode Island, Davey. I'm about to go to Rhode Island and get this little bag real quick. You feel me? Do my comedy thing. But we always readily accept any other group that's not us, and they only do it like when it's beneficial for them. Like Kamala Harris, Jamaican father, was part Indian. They say his parents owned slaves on a plantation. That's neither here nor there. The point I'm trying to make is, if you talk to any Jamaican in America today, and you refer to someone as black, 9 times out of 10 they be like, I'm not black, I'm Jamaican. Like, they will reject that shit, even though their skin color is black, but they don't identify it. Being black is not only like the color of your skin; it's your ideology. It's what you identify with in your soul, man. It's not. The skin is a part of it, but it's not the full. It doesn't fully encompass what a black person is. Because it's funny, like Indian people, they refer to themselves as brown people, right? But I see more Indians darker than black people. Like as a whole, like black folks, we got all types of colors, light skin, dark skin, whatever. But we have a certain phenotype. You can tell that a black person different from an Indian person because the facial features are different. The hair is different for the most part. You have exceptions or whatever, but I'm just talking about in general. But you call an Indian person black, they damn sure I'm not black. Fuck out of here. I'm Indian. I'm brown. That's the first thing they're saying. So Jamaicans reject being called black, right? Indians damn sure reject being called black like a motherfucker. But we have this individual in America who's part Jamaican, father did not grow up in America at all, mother is straight up from India, and we just wholeheartedly like embrace her as a black person. And the only reason why I think so, because the only reason why I think she's embracing this, because I don't got the research in front of me, but if I'm not mistaken, I think she was quoted as saying, like, when she was the Attorney General in California, she was saying, she's the first Indian American. Like, it was always Indian. She always put Indian first, but now she's putting black first. And from a strategy standpoint, it makes sense because during this year, things were extremely racially sensitive. You know, if you go from Ahmaud Arbery to Breonna Taylor to George Floyd, and the countless other unarmed black people that were killed, and then the Black Lives Matter protests around the world. Just being for the cause and being for black people was just like the end thing this year. Black Lives Matter is the new black, you know, and Democrats lean towards that. Democrats lean towards poverty, the impoverished and black folks. They seek their help. So, from a strategy standpoint, once Biden put her on the team, it made more sense for her to say she was black, to touch on the sensibilities of the way America was, Americans in general were feeling. Because Black Lives Matter isn't something that's only supported by Democrats. It's supported by Republicans too. So there's a lot of white guilt Republicans that probably voted with guilt on their heart as well to try to get this quote unquote first black woman into office. But I just don't rock with that, man. Saying the truth about something, it's not shade. Calling something for what it is not shade. And the funny thing is, so many of my black brothers and sisters, as soon as you say that Kamala Harris isn't black, not all of them, but like a lot of them, they'll jump down your throat. What do you mean? You don't know, you stupid. That's like your boy Trump. I'm not even talking about Trump. It's not about Trump. I couldn't care less who won this presidency or who didn't. I just personally didn't fuck with Biden, but I feel like politics in general is bullshit and people are selected rather than elected. And ultimately, what determines your trajectory in life are the personal decisions that you make. And if you really want to change something in government or politics, then that's something that you should go into hardcore, you know. But I couldn't care. Like, Biden is he's in office. I still don't fuck with him. But at the same time, I wish him success. And I hope enough people complain about his sordid past as far as the crime bill that he created and the hurtful things he said about the black community in the 70s about us being super predators and things of that nature. I hope enough people scream on that shit so that the guilt and the shame of that could hopefully have them making decisions that are beneficial for the black community. Like, shame a motherfucker. Sometimes you don't shame a motherfucker just so they don't win a competition. You can also shame a motherfucker once they win the competition so that they can start doing the right thing, you know? And that was my whole take. Like, a lot of you guys probably thought that I was a Trump supporter. You will find no post. I will give y'all my salary for the rest of my life. You will find no post of me saying vote Trump. You will find no post of me doing the hashtag Trump 2020. You can't find it. It doesn't exist. It's not there. You will find no post of mine telling people to vote for Trump. It's not there. It doesn't exist. I grew up raised a Jehovah's Witness from like the age of 12 to almost the age of 22. And they condition certain things that are still in my head to this day. One thing, they are anti-holidays. And the other thing is they're anti-government. And that's just something, those are just some things that pretty much just still with me, man. You know? Those are just some things that pretty much still with me. But the way us black folks, man, we always accept outsiders as our own, man. But no outsiders accept us as theirs, man. Not really. Not the way we do. You got Rachel Dolezal. Put makeup on her face to look darker. Permed her hair to make it more curly. And became a leader of the motherfucking NAACP in the Washington chapter. Went to a HBCU, got scholarships and all that shit. Turns out she wasn't black at all. Is there a black version of that? Is there a black person that any of us can recall that passed themselves off as white? And got white benefits? It does. I know of. You can make jokes about Lil Wayne and stuff like that, but white people don't accept Lil Wayne as white. They just look at him as a puppet and a buffoon. That's what they look at him as, a clown. You know what I'm saying? But that shit is crazy, man. How so many of us are willing to stand up and defend and argue with each other, argue with fellow black people over a person that's not black, that's posing as black or taking advantage of being confused as being black. And we'll fight each other over that shit instead of unifying amongst ourselves, man. Calling this bullshit out. If you want to support her as a woman, support her as a woman. Support her as a woman of color, support her as a woman of color. Support her as the first woman of color in the second most powerful position in the world. Much respect. To call a black man, how many other black women, lawyers and judges and things and politicians who were equally qualified, if not more qualified than Kamala Harris, right? And she bypassed those actual black women. That's disrespectful to them. That's disrespectful to black women, to actual black women that should be in that position. Nobody talks about it. Nobody gives a fuck. We just want to lay claim to some shit just to say that we have it, even if it's not ours, man. And that's just a flawed way of thinking, man. And the reason why I keep talking about it is because it's on my timeline. Every time I see it on my timeline, somebody like touting Kamala Harris as a black woman, call that shit out. Like, nah, she's not black, yo. Shit, can we stop doing that? Can we like respect our ancestors by not calling her black? At least at the minimum, okay, like she's a woman of color and she's of African descent because she's Jamaican. But as far as ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, or as Tariq Nasheed says, FBA, Foundational Black Americans, she's not that at all. She doesn't understand the black struggle. She didn't go, I mean, yeah, she went to an HBCU, but there's white people and people of other races and ethnicities that go to HBCUs because different groups get different scholarships in order to go there. Like, education is cheaper, but it's still a good education, but they get benefits and stipends for doing that shit. And they take advantage of it. Like, a lot of times when you see things like affirmative action and things of that nature, you know, affirmative action is to give minorities the opportunities, job opportunities that were otherwise taken away from them because of who they are. And it was mainly drawn up for black folks. But it applies to all groups. But it seems like women, you know, in other groups get those advantages and those spoils of war more than the people that it was drafted up for. And nobody calls it out on a grand scale. I'm not saying she shouldn't be in office. I'm not saying that how she got there was nefarious and shady. This is not the broadcast for that right now. I'm just saying, black people, man, we need to grow a spine, man, and really just start calling out those who aren't amongst us, man. Yo, I'm a light-skinned black dude. Sometimes I get mistaken for Hispanic or whatever, man. There's no way, if I like lost some weight or whatever, what have you, if I just started dressing in Indian garb and I moved to India, you know what I'm saying? Not only would these motherfuckers, if I don't know how to speak Urdu or whatever language that they speak, yo, not only would they not accept me as a politician, if I was trying to be a politician, I couldn't even fucking start a corner store. you know how many Middle Easterners, and you know what? It's no knock towards them. It's more knock towards us. But so many Indians and Middle Easterners, they'll set up shop in the fucking hood, make money hand over fist, and we don't say shit. We just accept that shit, and they're not even afraid of us. They put up that bulletproof glass, you know, and they good money, man. They let homeless motherfuckers hang out in front of their store all fucking day. The homeless people is like, man, a homeless person is like a mascot for an Indian corner store owner, or Indian. They let, and it's whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, why they do it, I don't know. I get homeless people they get money and they panhandle, and they wind up spending that money right in there. So the Indians, they getting money from regular customers and they getting money from the homeless. I guess if enough homeless people is buying stuff from you, from your store, every day, all day, that works out to be a percentage of your total revenue in the long run, so I get it. But let me go try to set up shop in one of these Indian cities or Pakistani cities or in the Middle East. I love, like, you know, sometimes like the Middle East is like maybe 1,000 miles from India, but sometimes I'll mix up the two. I'll mix up Indian with Middle Eastern, and like some of them, they'll get upset, and rightfully so. But at the same token, man, a lot of them have a similar religion, whether it's Islam or whether it's Hindi, you know, and they have a similar skin tone and they have similar hair. So, like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? It's like Europeans. You got motherfuckers in Spain and you got motherfuckers in Russia, but they all white. They just speak different languages. So fuck the semantics. Middle Easterners, Lebanese and all that shit, they own fucking stores. And Indians and Pakistans and shit, they own hotels and gas stations and stores too. They hustle. They all got a good hustle that we can all respect and fucking should try to pattern ourselves after. But we separate as a people, man. We all come from different tribes that was beat. See, this is the thing about black folks. The reason why black people aren't unified in America is because we all didn't come from the same damn tribe, and that was by design. If we all came from the same tribe, right, when we were slaves, we'd all be speaking the same language. And when you got like thousands of motherfuckers that speak in the same language, it's easier for them to uprise and revolt, you know? But when you got a whole bunch of motherfuckers speaking different dialects of different dialects of different African tribes and different colors, and some of them probably even had beef before they even got here. You know, after they were brought over here on those damn ships, it's going to take them hundreds of years to finally like have a universal language, Indian, that they all understood, or like Indian English that they understand, a pig Latin or some bullshit, and then finally realize, like, listen, we all in a shitty fucking situation, and we all need to band together to get out of this fucking situation. If African slaves were only taken from one tribe, man, black people would be in such a different position now. Slavery probably would have ended not even like 50 years after it started. But part of the design is having a whole bunch of people not speaking the same language, and having a whole bunch of motherfuckers that's fugitives and shit that were outcasts of Africa. That's why they never sent any African warships to bring us back to rescue us. That's why so many Africans don't fuck with Americans like that, because we were the rejects of society. And then a lot of African black Americans weren't even from Africa. A lot of us were Native Americans that was already here. A lot of us were never even from Africa. Period. A lot of us was always from here, from the Americas, and mixed with some African, you know? But we still were enslaved, though. And then some Africans mixed with some Native Americans, and then some white people mixed with some of those, and then that's why we have so many different people of different shades and all over the spectrum. But I see this as something like nobody really hopping in, nobody wants to touch this topic. It's something that's not really interesting to you guys, and I respect that, but I just had to get it out off my chest. Much respect to Kamala Harris, Vice President-elect. Much respect to her as a woman of color, getting such a powerful position, and hopefully she can service America to the best of our abilities. she can service our America. She can service America with as much integrity that she possibly can. And I feel good, though I don't fuck with Biden and I don't fuck with Harris. It does feel like a better spirit in America as far as like the overall energy of people. Because with Trump being there, he just pisses so many people off on the left, and he incites so many on the right, like as far as white nationalists, that him being there is just for the psyche and for the energy of America. It's not good from a business standpoint. As far as the economy, that can be argued. But as far as like the overall psyche and the overall feel, your attitude has to be a certain way in order for you to fully progress. And America just didn't seem happy. And just looking at my timeline, yes, there's some people on the right that are upset, but I'm not really seeing too many people on the right complaining. More or less, I'm seeing people on the right saying that they're going to do a recount and they're going to take it to trial, blah, 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 blah. But it's not no despair like woe is me type shit. Like if Trump would have won, man, so many leftists would have been crying tears and shit and in dismay. So it feels good that not that many people on my timeline feel bad. So I can rock with that. Like I said, I don't give a fuck who is in office. Who is in office ain't gonna lower my blood pressure. It's not gonna make me younger. It's not gonna grow my hair back. It's not gonna make white people like me anymore. It's not gonna give me any job opportunities, any of that shit. These are all things that I have to do for myself, man. Politics is just an advanced form of pro wrestling to me. It's a soap opera. But that's just my opinion. But we gotta stop doing that, man. We gotta stop claiming people as black that aren't black. That shit happens all the time. What did Paul Mooney say? Famous quote by Paul Mooney. I don't know if I said it earlier, but if I said it earlier, I apologize and I'll repeat it again. Everybody want to be a nigga until it's time to be a nigga. It happened with white artists, singers all the time. You see Pink, when Pink first came out, late 90s, early 2000s, man, she was fucking with Trench, and she, had the whole black style, and she was fucking code switching, and black fishing, and slumming. And then for whatever reason, like when she really blew up, that chick went straight white. You wouldn't even recognize Pink anymore. From the early 2000s, late 90s, big booty Pink with the short Karen haircut, man. Sexy as hell, big as a motherfucker. Trench bust them cheeks down. I know he did. Man, you can't even tell no more. Same thing with Justin Bieber. He was all hood, running with Floyd Mayweather, gangster and shit like that, man. And after a while, totally switched it up. You wouldn't he's a Christian now. Totally switched the game up. You wouldn't even know what the hell he was. A lot of artists do that shit. Shit, black artists be doing that. Like Eve, Eve, Rough Riders. You know what I'm saying? Who's that girl? Where them niggas with the big dicks? Where my niggas with the hot whips? Yeah, she married to some billionaire white dude and she's on The View or The Talk, whatever them shows is. She looking fine. Eve looked fucking gorgeous. And I didn't think Eve was that fine back in the days, but now I don't know what she did. But she became a white woman. That's hair was blonde, like that shit just blended in. Stacey Dash always been white, so we ain't gonna talk about her. She always been a white chick. But it happens all the time, man. People just take advantage of us. And people identify as us when it's only beneficial. Do you think Kamala Harris would have got as much support from the Democratic side if she touted herself as an Indian American? Do you think, let me read the question, do you think Kamala Harris would get as much support as she has gotten if she touted herself as an Indian American? I don't hear nobody saying nothing. I don't hear y'all. Again, I'll ask the question one more time. Do you think Kamala Harris would have gotten as much support from the left and the Democrats of America, if she touted herself as an Indian American. No, she would not. Now, if some unarmed Indian person got killed and was always getting killed in America, and they were screaming Indian Lives Matter, then and everybody was protesting all over the world for the benefit of Indians, police brutality against Indians, then she would claim herself an Indian. Look at all her photos, yo. That's why I made that video, You Ain't Black, with Joe Biden saying you ain't black and having her, all the pictures of her mother in Indian garb. You don't see no soul food pictures. You don't see her with no black men except for the judge she fucked with, but back in the days. But I'm not even trying to, like, those two consenting adults, they want to get their freak on, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But you got to look at a person's history, man. Look at the clothes her mother was wearing. And I think Indian women are fucking beautiful. I would love an Indian woman, but I don't have enough class to have one. Some chick, one of my friends, she's Guyanese, and Guyanese is basically a Caribbean Indian. They are descendants. Their ancestors come from the country India. You know what I'm saying? And they went to the Caribbean, and Guyanese people are Native Americans in Guyana mixed with Indians, Eastern Indians. And I was like, yo, I always wanted to, I think they're so beautiful. And she was like, Indians, regardless of what level they're on, what class, or how much money they got, an Indian will only mess with their kind or people of another race. They only mess with their kind. They'll deal with another race only if that person in another race is highly successful or on the brink of high success. Like whether they're like a doctor, engineer, lawyer, athlete. They don't, and it's smart to think that way, because even if I was a woman, as a woman in this world, you can work hard, but you don't have to work as hard as a man to get the things you want in life, or you don't have to work as hard at the same things that a man has to work hard at in order to be successful. Like, a man got to be in shape, he has to be educated, he has to look good, he has to have notoriety, etc. He has to have all these things, be successful in whichever business or avenue that he's in to get the pickings of the woman that he wants. But a woman, in order to have success socially, she just has to take care of herself and look attractive. And by looking attractive, it's still hard work. You still got to stay in shape. You got to eat right. You got to be on top of your hygiene. You have to carry yourself with some type of etiquette. It's a different type of work. But I feel like men, overall, they just have to work harder, and men aren't chosen as frequently or as much, or men don't have as many social or sexual options as women do. Because a billionaire Tiger Woods will fuck a waitress at a Denny's, right? A female waitress. But a male waiter is not going to easily bag a billionaire woman, because first of all, that billionaire woman is probably going to be taken or have somebody. Now, what's harder? Being the greatest golfer of all time, or being a good waitress? Doesn't match up. So I understand progeny, and I understand women, using their gifts that were given to them arbitrarily in order to obtain men and obtain things that they want in life. I get that. I respect that. But it's just harder for men. I don't even know why I got on this subject. I'm trying to figure out. I think I was talking about Indian women. I was talking about me wanting to date. I would say that Indian women are beautiful, and I would love to date one. I think they're fucking fine as hell. They gorgeous. I had sex with one Indian woman, man, and she looked like she was a butch lesbian, and she looked like fucking Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks. That's the only Indian woman I ever had in my life, man. He was a freak too, but that's all I had, and that Indian woman just used me. Just to say she just wanted some dick. Like, sometimes lesbian chicks will use men as like dicks in glass cases. When they having struggles with finding dates of the same sex that they like, they'll deal with a pretty boy. I was a pretty boy back in the days. They'll deal with a pretty boy or whatever, you know? But still kicked it to the curb. She done got married, got the wedding pictures and all that shit. It's over. It's a wrap. That store is, that chapter is closed. But I know my Facebook comments is probably off the chain on all these topics that I put up. I've said what I pretty much had to say. I am on my way to Warwick, Rhode Island to close out a show. I got called to be a headliner, so I was like, yo, as long as the paper is right, I will come out there, and I'm going out there to do my comedy thing. I appreciate it. If anything, I'm gonna record this. I'm gonna record this set, chop it up later, and I'm gonna chop it up with you guys later. All right? I will holler at y'all. Hashtag everybody need more green. Peace.